What is going on, everybody? We are back. Season 3 of the ABJ podcast. It's crazy. I can't believe this channel alone has been going on for 3 years. We've hit some cool milestones on this channel. We're at 1,300 subscribers. We're monetized. We have membership programs. There's a lot of fun things. Just first interview of the year. It's you guys are now seeing this on the 6th, which is a Monday. We're going to be doing every ABJ style podcast content or related content on Mondays, whether it be interviews or banging beers or truth behind evolutions or maybe not cool in high schools. And then Tuesdays we'll still stick with the tornado tags. And then Fridays will be, for the foreseeable future, a bunch of 5 questions with ABJs. But we have a bunch of those filmed for a while now. But if you want to see any content early, subscribe to the channel. Hit that membership tab. It's $5, and you get all the content early before everybody else, except this one, because I think it's going to air. Actually, I might get it done quicker, and it'll be up there and surprise everybody. But the goal is for this year, and I know it sounds ambitious, and I know it sounds crazy, but if you're listening to this or you're watching this, like I'm banking on you guys. I'm not paying YouTube or Google or Facebook or any of these things to push my platform. I want to be a word of mouth. I want to be a street team style type thing. So just share it out, tell people about it. Let other people know if they want to come on and tell their story that my platform's here. But I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I know it sounds crazy. It took me almost 7 years to hit 1,000, but we will get there. And I'd like to hit 100 members by the end of 2025. So that's my little goals for myself, that I feel like with the work ethic I have going on, I'm going to do it. Also on the YouTube side, and then the content side, I'll be adding game streams and stuff. So I will be working a lot on this channel. So besides just the podcast and other content and the reviews and all that, there will be tons of stuff coming that I feel will help me hit those goals. But like I said, if you're listening or watching, a 5-star review on the audio side goes a long way. Spotify does have an option too, where you can leave little comments or feedback, which would be great. And then on the YouTube side, always in the comments, get them blown up. Even if you comment a bunch of times because you're watching it and you're just commenting as you're going, I love that. I will respond to every comment. But just trying to build a community. You can follow me and my guests and all the links below. We do have merch pages as well as Discord and community things you can hang out with. But the new logo for season 3 is available. I added a little bit of a third color to it so we can do some fun color splashes. That is very Washington Commanders, I know. Deal with it. And then we have the brand new, just because it's not just the podcast, it's just the brand of ABJ. We got the new logo there too, which I think is really cool. Just kind of isolated. So tons of fun stuff coming. Without further ado, I'm done shaking my little internet tin can. Let's bring in my first ever returning guest in 3 seasons of this podcast, and it couldn't have been a better person. I mean, you've probably seen people here and then, reviewing episodes and stuff like that, but as a return episode interview guest, this is the first time it's ever been done, and it's someone that I hold very dearly to my heart in this business. Always been an amazing friend. Great conversations at shows, in personal time, and just someone I really, really cherish and love very much. Let's bring him in today. It's the Mike SKYROS. What's going on, bud?
We're live, pal. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Glad we could take this time to talk.
You know what's hilarious? I was just on I don't know if you were still there, but I was on I've been doing a lot of TikTok stuff, like joining like wrestling content creators TikTok, and I was with my buddy the Heels for Life, and Chris is a big fan of you, and he was talking about you, and he's like, oh, Sky, like, oh, Mike Sky, he goes, Blackwell knows everybody, and I was like, that's my homie right there, he's like, of course, he's like blown away. I know. I'm like, if they're in the Northeast, I try to make it a point to know as much as I possibly can in this area. New York, I'm growing. New York's a big scene that I have not conquered all of it, but yeah. Like the Binghamton, Syracuse area, I got pretty down pat though.
Yeah, the thing about upstate New York is we have so much great talent up there, especially now in the past probably 4 or 5 years. A lot of people have come out of the schools, including ours, that are good, and it's about branching outside of New York State. Like a lot of people, just the pathways haven't been opened up. So that's one thing I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to like clear some road for people to drive down and hopefully get some more opportunities outside of just like, Albany, Buffalo, Syracuse, Binghamton.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you've had a great 2024. You had a lot of really cool moments that we'll get into. But before we get into it, we kind of said the name, but give him the name, give him the moniker, tell him what you do. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm the Moonlight Sun Mike SKYROS. I'm out of Syracuse, New York. I've been wrestling for over 10 years now, which makes me feel old as dirt. I've started in April of 2014. And I had a crazy year last year. It was my best year yet. I wrestled. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about this. But I wrestled guys like Minoru Suzuki, Eddie Edwards, Primo and Epico Cologne, Darius Carter, like all kinds of crazy people. I'm a guy that I'm really very much like committed to the fundamentals and tradition of wrestling. I love professional wrestling. I love so many different forms of it. And what I do is my thing is all killer, no filler. I don't bring any BS, any corny wrestling, anything that's gonna spit in your face as a fan. I'm a guy that gives you like the real meat and potatoes of wrestling, and I'm unapologetic about it.
I love that. I love it. So, since the last time we spoke till now, obviously you've done a lot of crazy things. What would you say has been new about Mike Skyros? What do you bring to the table? Because the last time we talked, I think it was around the time or maybe shortly after you wrestled Cardona, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was around that time. So from there to now, what do you think new? What have you brought new to the table, or maybe new in just your life in general?
New is finding new ways to connect with the fans, honestly, because it's taken. I'm not a person that likes to open up to a lot of people. Like I try to be polite and kind always, but I don't like to let a lot of people into my circle. That's just how I am. But
Mhm.
inside the ring, really like taking time to look around, make eye contact, make not just is I'm gonna sound like the biggest old man wrestler of all time, but I've really tried to prioritize after wrestling main eventers like Cardona, making moments for the people in the crowd outside the ring. Even my merchandise, giving people like what they want, not necessarily what I want. I'm not buying the shirts you are. Um, Giving people like putting out promos for everything. I'm not as I'm maybe like 80% right now. I want to get to 100, but I put out promos as consistently as anyone on the indies right now. You can look that up too. I just started we were speaking about Discord. I just started a Discord channel. By the time your show broadcasts on the 6th, my Discord channel will be live. We're going live on the 4th, and that'll be in my link tree. We can talk about it later, but
I
really
will
setting
invite my
aside.
Discord community to it. We'll get some people in there for you.
Appreciate that because I want to find a space for all like the wrestling watch alongs I want to do, all the blogs and ramblings I want to do that I don't just want to pepper Facebook with that's going to drown your feed, stuff like that. But really trying to make wrestling for the fan and less for myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's something we kind of talked about before is kind of finding your identity. You've been doing this for quite some time, but like, what is Mike's guy? Like, you're the Moonlight Sun, but then you were like before. It was like a hodgepodge of a lot of different things, but nothing really stood out before that. The wrestling was all there, but you didn't have that connection with the audience because you said you were kind of reserved. You're in the same aspect of like I will say like an Andy Header where Andy Hetter's not going to politic. He's not going to bullshit. He's not going to really go crazy. He's not going to sit at his merch stand. He's going to come in. He's going to give you the best performance he can hand. And hopefully that's enough that you remember him for life. And it works for him, but you need to be at the merch table. Like the Cardona's going to be at merch table all day long. And I think you getting those opportunities and seeing some of the top guys put that out has changed that for you. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, let me speak on something specific when you bring up Cardona again. So, uh, especially if you're a wrestler, like if you haven't seen this video, go look it up. It's out there on YouTube. Matt put out a video talking about like specifically like merch and connecting with fans like outside the ropes. I have followed so much of that video to a T, and uh, I've met a lot of cool people. I've had a lot of cool conversations, and like I've made a lot more money on merch.
Yeah.
You see me at shows now, unless I'm really like under a certain time constraint or I'm needed for something or I'm running late. Uh, I'll be at the merch stand when doors open. I'll be at the merch stand at intermission, and I'll be hanging out after the show. And I thought it was I thought it was a little corny at first. I was like, oh, I don't want to be standing out there like a flea market, but he's right, and that's one reason he's been on top because I've, like I said before, I've made a lot of good connections that way. In terms of my character too, you speak on that. It's still something I'm figuring out, but I realized a lot of the stuff I'm into, I'm not into it because it's hot right now, but it's hot right now. Like the whole, I don't want to say like emo or like metal aesthetic, but it's is popping off right now. Like if you look at TikTok, like Gen Z kids are doing like dressing like they're in new metal bands, or like a lot of like black metal fashion. Like there are people like t-shirts, black metal font, like uh, a lot of like the stuff in aesthetic that I like is in the forefront now. If you look at
Yeah.
someone like Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
her whole
Spooky, witchy
aesthetic,
goth chicks love that shit.
yeah, yeah, and she hit the wave like right at the perfect time, and no one else was doing it like that. So
Yeah.
that's all the kind of stuff I'm into, and I'm just leaning super hard into it.
Yeah, that's my cup of tea as well. That's all the stuff I'm into. So I think you're doing that very well. What would you say you've learned about yourself when it comes to this year as well, like personal gain outside the ring?
Yeah, personal gain is to take more value of myself and to be more confident in what I bring to the table. To be honest, because like I, a lot of people think I'm cocky, and maybe that's a wrestling character. They don't really get to know me, but I've been my biggest critic, and I've been, in my opinion, a little too humble. I I just need to reach out more. I need to broadcast my wins. I need to show promoters and fans like what I bring to the table, which I've had a pretty good batting average, especially recently. And additionally, like this isn't necessarily about myself, but something new that I'm really thankful for is the guys that have popped up from my area in the past like year and a half are killing right now. And uh, you're familiar with Don Freeze. You're familiar with Black and Yellow. There's a gentleman named Dave Coles out of Syracuse that's like one of the best wrestlers, like new wrestlers I've seen ever. He gets no shine because his style is very it's not very flashy, it's very technical, but one of the best I've been in the ring with. And having those guys on the road with me, and now having the goal of getting them more places and getting people to see them and watching them go out and kill, that's like that's super fun for me right now as well.
Yeah. So what have been some setbacks or adversities you've overcome since the last time we talked, or in your personal life or in the wrestling side?
Yeah, like I won't get too deep in the weeds on certain personal stuff because like I don't know, I don't that's just not how I operate, kind of as I
Mhm.
told earlier. I had a really tough personal situation at the beginning of the year where a very close friend was very uncool, and it really put me in a negative spot. And in certain ways, I'm still dealing with that right now. And that's been a real bummer, like navigating that, because it was one of the few people that I let in really close,
Yeah.
and they played it against me, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And then they are in wrestling spaces. They're in certain professional settings with me, and uh, that's not always the funnest thing in the world. So navigating that. Some people know back in at the end of May for about a month, because I took some bookings off. I was the sickest I have ever been in my entire life. I got some sort of stomach virus, and right after the May One Up Wrestling show, I was bedridden, could not eat for 4 weeks straight. It was
Wow.
terrible. I missed some cool bookings. I missed wrestling for people I really enjoy, like Bloodstorm Wrestling, for example, who've been really cool to me. I couldn't wrestle for them back in May because I was sick. I lost 30 pounds. And then I came back and I'm like, can my body hold up? Am I going to disintegrate the first time I hit the mat? And my first match back was with Eddie Edwards, who's one of the best in the world and someone like I personally look up to.
Mhm.
And navigating that and coming out the other side was very cool. I haven't told a lot of people this either, but in my pro wrestling grind match in October, I got hurt like bad. And I had to completely change the way I wrestle for a little bit to uh, like mitigate that injury, and that was scary. But it's so weird because I people aren't probably won't even notice, but I wrestle so much smarter now. I wrestle so much safer, both for myself and the person I'm in the ring with. So navigating all that has been super challenging. I haven't really dealt with injuries like that before, but uh,
Are you willing to dive in what the injury was?
is to do with my lower back. Like I just
That's not a joke. That one that
no,
I hurt my lower back when I was 27. I still have lower back pain.
yeah, it's tough,
It doesn't
man.
go, especially if you pinch the sciatic or something. You're done. Done.
Yeah, and dealing with it in a pro wrestling sense is tough because like you can't just be like, oh, I'm not gonna fall down tonight. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So dealing with that has been a pain in the ass, but like it really challenged like, okay, like what can I do in the ring to still put on like a match that's like worth the price of admission, but not kill myself.
Yeah. When I know when we talked the first time, you were almost in like a bulking session. You were becoming like little mini Hulk. You were putting
Yeah,
muscle on and muscle, and
yeah,
I even told you too. I said I think you look great, but I think it slowed you down a little bit in the ring, and a lot of your athleticism kind of didn't look the same because you put a lot of muscle on. And then
yeah.
kind of this 2024 thing, you found that balance again, it seemed, where you leaned in but still kept a lot of the mass, but you moved a lot better.
Yeah. So what I did was this would if you're like into like fitness or bodybuilding, you'll understand what this means. But I did what's called a recomp. So I'm heavy. I'm the heaviest now I've been ever. I just, it just is different on me now. When you gain muscle, like a lot of times when you get to your heaviest, you'll carry a lot of body fat, and then the next time, like you cut down, you get back up to that weight. It's a better weight. It's less fat, and I changed the way I dieted. I cut out a lot of sugars. I cut out a lot of BS. Like I still have uh, I still have like once a week I'll have like a little sweet whatever, but that's about it. And I feel great. I've been doing a lot of yoga. I've been doing a lot of stretching. I've been doing a lot of foam rolling, and like you're right. I was a meatball for a while there, but like right now I'm heavier, I'm stronger, and like I feel really good about my movements too. Like my body control's way better than it was at that point.
Yeah. There's a match that I was nervous going into the show because I don't know, I didn't know how it was going to translate to no ring, and like every match was good, and I don't want to take anything away from anybody, but the two matches that I was most looking forward to actually stole the show that night. It was Journey and Riley. I thought had one of the
Yes.
best no ring matches
Yes.
I've ever seen. I thought they did a great job using the crowd and the stage and the move set they did because they couldn't do what they wanted to do that they normally do. And I thought they I still to this day, I think is one of the best no ring matches I've seen. And it was Riley and Journey, but you and Mike had a really good no ring match as well. And man, you took a kendo stick straight to the face. Yeah.
Dude, so I loved that show. So first I want to give props to Journey and Riley. Like you said, they killed it. So that whole scene, the no ring death match, hardcore, whatever you want to
I remember I
label
went in
it.
the back. Sorry to cut you off. I went in the back and I remember
Yeah.
just going to them like, yo, you just fucking killed it. And I remember I'm like, they just set a bar. Good luck.
Yes. I said something to them as well. Like, and I felt bad because I won't say who it was, but there was a match that went out before them. And they're like, oh, you didn't say that to us. In my head, I'm like, no offense. They just smashed it. Like,
Yeah.
But props to those two. Like I said, it's not my scene and like the type of wrestling that I'm super familiar with, but I look at wrestling, I just can see whether it's good or bad, whether the audience liked it or didn't like it. And they did great. I was so like happy to see that. And then I went out with Mike, and again, not my comfort zone really at all. And I was really happy with that match. It's funny because maybe I'm wrong, but I think there are a lot of people, including maybe Mike, that think like I despise him. I don't. We have a lot of different ideas on wrestling, but in terms of like a dude, I think he's great. In terms of an in-ring guy, like his philosophy and my philosophy are very different, but what he's done is effective, and I just want to see him do well with the title because I worked really hard to try and make that title like mean something, and I
Mhm.
just want to see him carry it and like keep it on that upward trajectory.
Yeah. I think he's doing a great job. He really, really is.
Yeah.
I think his storylines and the stuff he's putting himself in has been good. He's been defending it everywhere. They're big shoes to fill. And you put the high tension title on your back and the company on your back for a long time, and I think he's doing a good job holding it down now. I'd still like to see a rematch eventually in the future, or see what has in store for you in High Tension. But yeah, you and Philly Mike, that was a conclusion. You lost at Smash and then had the rematch at the Solar Slam. I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah. All the show names just blend together. It's like, all right, think of a movie reference, because that's usually what they're But no, I thought it was a great match. And seeing you in a no-ring environment was a lot of fun, because it was something completely different. And I thought the storytelling there was done really well.
Yes, I'd be open to doing more. If it was with the right opponent and the right situation, I would love to do more. I'm trying to do more. I love my singles wrestling. I love my tag team wrestling, but I would love to do more, like, just things that are different. Like, see what I like, really, stretch out, flex some new muscle, see what I got.
Yeah. So, who has this motivated or inspired you and kept you pushing forward a lot since we've talked last time? Has your motivators or your inspirations changed at all?
Thankfully, no. It's whittled down a little bit, but that's okay. Like, as I think everyone watching knows, sometimes in life, like, people grow apart. They go in different directions for whatever reason, but the people that stay long term, it just solidifies that even more. Like I spoke about earlier, the guys that from my area, I'll name them again: Don Freeze, Corey Jackson, Ting Shi, Dave Coles, Adam Stone. Those guys have been super solid for me. Having them both to go on the road with, to lean on, and also to bring to a show and be like, hey, put these guys on the card, they'll kill. Like, leaning on them personally, professionally, has been super cool. And then guys like Sean Carr, who you know very well, Garrett Holiday.
Love that guy.
Ryan Clancy has been a guy who's been like a real friend to me. Bobby Ocean, Ichiban. Like, I could list a bunch of guys, and I apologize if I'm forgetting anybody, but these are guys that, like, have been super cool and have reached out to me, like, personally, in ways that I didn't always expect, and I'm grateful.
I just watched an Ichiban match on Speedball Mike Bailey's Twitch stream. It was Ichiban versus I'm so sorry, the guy from NXT that just got signed, the flippy guy, Jay Evans, or Javon Evans. Is it Javon Evans?
Yeah, I think he was Jay Malachi in the Indies, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was. I forget the promotion we watched, but I watched him and Ichiban, and it was so good.
Was it DPW?
It might have been.
Yeah, because I know he's done a lot of DPW. He's done a lot of Firestar.
Yeah, Ichiban's great. Ichiban number one.
Ichiban's
actually
great.
Someone said in the chat, they're like, Ichiban doesn't speak any English. How hard is it to put a match together with him? And Speedball's like, what? And I was like, did Ichiban Tajiri somebody? Did he Tajiri somebody? Or is I don't speak English and walk away?
Well, I speak a little. I dabble. I'm trying to pick up the language. I speak a little Ichi, so it's like calling a match with anyone who speaks a different language. But I'm wrestling him at Immortal Championship Wrestling on the 22nd of February, and I'm hyped because I had one of my best matches with him 3 years ago, and we've never had a singles rematch. So we're both super motivated to just kill.
And that you said 2003?
2000. It's been 3 years, so 2021 is when we had our
and
match.
You're both wildly two different wrestlers in those 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. What are this is where we're gonna get fun here. What are some key moments or accomplishments that you've had at this point so far? So this is where we could talk about some of those big profile matches you got to knock out of the park.
Yeah, and I'm gonna plug my Discord again because I did a whole thread of 10 matches that I thought really significant or I enjoyed this year, and I go a little more in depth on each one and like why. But I'm gonna start with Suzuki because that's the obvious one. Dude, it was so weird because, and I've said this verbatim a few times, but it's the best way I can put it. I didn't know how to react when I first heard the news because I didn't think that match was possible.
Yeah.
And then Immortal messages me. They're like, "You ready for the biggest match in your life?" I'm like, "What do you got?" They're like, "Minoru Suzuki." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me."
Wasn't it around April too, like April Fool's joke?
They posted it on April 1st.
That's what it was.
Thought they were kidding. Yeah. Like people talk to me after, like they're like, "Oh, that's happening." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I
I'm like,
thought it was.
"Oh,
I thought. I remember we put it. We have a wrestling chat on Facebook. It's like a group of us that all chat. It's just like a bunch of different wrestling promoters and fans and people in the
yeah."
business, and we always talk wrestling in this little Facebook messenger. And it is open to anybody. Anyone can come and join it. But I remember we posted in there, and someone's like, "You know today's date, right?" I'm like, "This better not be fake, because that's fucked up."
I believe you asked me about it during WrestleMania too. I think you said something to me about it
Yeah, I was like, "Is
along
that
those
real? Is
lines.
that really happening?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, dude. But it was so nuts because he's so like he's someone I've literally watched my entire career, and like I've stolen so much from him too. I'm not ashamed to admit it, but like you've seen me in the locker room before a lot of shows, and like I care a ton, but I don't get like nervous very often. It takes a lot to like really get my blood pressure up in that sense. Before that match, I was like literally like this. I was so nervous, dude. I was scared, like not scared in the sense of like, oh, he's gonna beat me up. Scared that like I've never had anything on this scale, and I want to make sure like I do my thing. But dude, it was such a pleasure to be in the ring with him. He's incredible. Um, he was super like kind and complimentary afterwards. He posted me on his freaking Instagram, which was wild. He had very nice things to say, and it was so cool. And it's one of those things like I'm going to talk about that the rest of my life. Like
yeah,
I don't, I don't apologize for that one bit. Um, Building off of that, dude. Like I mentioned before, Eddie Edwards. When I first started out, like I'd watched him on like Ring of Honor and stuff before,
mhm.
but when I first started doing ring crew, I was at a promotion called 2CW that ran all of upstate New York, basically. And Eddie was the guy that was on every show. And Eddie, I watched his matches. In my opinion, they were the types of matches I liked the most, and they're the matches I thought were the best every single
There's a
time.
lot
And
of
was such a
parallels with you and Eddie too, like look, size, the way you wrestle. Like you were for like a while. Like I remember we said it on the podcast at one point in time. Like you're kind of like our version of Eddie Edwards. Like you're just like that utility guy. You could put him in any style match, any person, any style. Like you're very similar in what you guys both bring to the table.
you were the second person to tell me that like verbatim. And
Yeah,
that's very cool. Um, but with him, like it was funny too because even I would see him periodically since then, and he always remembered that like who I was. Like I was just a ring crew guy, and then I was like a super duper undercard guy. But he always remembered who I was. He was always nice to me, and we wrestled in a 4-way in 2021, and I was like, all right, cool. I wrestled Eddie, like, and then I had One Up Wrestling. They were like, they were basically like, who would you like to wrestle? Like someone like realistic. I'm like, please put me in there with Eddie Edwards. And uh, the match is up on YouTube. You guys can go watch and see for yourself. I linked it on my Facebook page recently, but the fact that like I could hang with someone like that, and he had critiques, but like he had way less critiques than I thought he was going to have. Awesome. That I've been pretty confident the last couple of years, but that just took me to a whole new another level. Like one of the best in the world. Same thing with Suzuki. Like two of the best guys in the world just told me like I wrestle well, and to keep doing what I'm doing, just keep pushing that. So anyone on the indies that feels any type of way about it can't tell me shit. Like those guys wouldn't sugarcoat it. So
yeah.
I'll list a couple more too, just so I'm not like
Just
yapping
picking the
too
names
long.
out.
But yeah, like wrestling Darius Carter was awesome.
I
I've
love that guy.
I've been I've been wanting to wrestle him for years.
I've
He
been
gets
wanting to
kind of a bad
podcast
rep.
on them for years. I got so he's terrible at social media. He's the worst. He
Yes,
messages
yes,
you and then doesn't respond to that message for like 8 months.
yes.
I got him
He's
to the
a
point
hard
where
guy
he
to track down.
agreed, and then he never looked at his messenger ever again. I'm like, this is
Yep,
impossible.
I know the feeling. He's a hard guy to track down, but
Yeah.
and he gets a bad rep in the ring. Like so many people messaged me and they were like, "Oh, watch out for him. He's gonna try and take advantage. He's gonna be unprofessional." It was great. I have zero complaints.
Wait,
Like, yeah,
someone
he hits
said
hard.
Darius Carter's unprofessional?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, he's gonna try to he's gonna try to put you in a hold you can't get out of, or he's gonna like hit you hard like in the face, or like try to black your eye. Like it wasn't that specific, but it was something along those lines. Like they thought he was gonna like try to beat me up or like shoot, and I'm
Are
like,
these people in the business or fans?
yeah, yeah,
Both?
wrestlers, other wrestlers. No fans, other
No, I
wrestlers.
just like he works people very well. Like I've
I
watched him
guess
match.
so.
Is he maybe? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the difference between if he's snug or not because I've never stepped in between the ropes. But what he does looks good from a fan perspective. Like it looks like
Yeah,
it causes damage when he does moves. It looks like it's effective, and he's just a really good heel. But when it comes to professionalism, that guy has been nothing but A+ everywhere I've ever been with
yeah,
him. Shows up in a 3-piece suit to a backyard show that no fans are even at. Like, and then when he starts talking, the locker room kind of goes around him like he's a messiah. Like,
yeah.
like, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he hits hard, but like, first of all, that's like everyone I wrestle now. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the corner I've been put in, which I'm cool with that. And I'm not a tough guy. I'm not a badass or anything like that. But my my bar for like this is unnecessary in terms of like being hit hard is higher than most people. Nothing he did like was unnecessary. He hit me
is
hard,
is
but like,
is Suzuki
yeah,
on the where does Suzuki rank on chops? Do you take it a Suzuki?
Eddie
Is it the
Edwards is
worst
the
chop?
hardest. No, Eddie Edwards is the hardest I've ever been chopped by a lot. By like
Really?
a huge margin. Yes. Try to find more. If you find more people who have wrestled him, ask them that. His chops are by far the hardest. I don't know what it is about him, but they suck. Like, not in the match I had this year, but the first time I wrestled him, the first time he chopped me, my ears rang. Like, and that's zero exaggeration.
Is
Uh,
Suzuki just like when Suzuki hits you? I'm sure it's not fun, but does he just know how to make a good sound out of it as well? Like he just
Suzuki hits really hard. It's just he didn't hit as hard as Eddie.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
just
Suzuki
all.
Effie is still one of my favorite matches, just because like I never really seen Suzuki like besides Murder Grandpa, and then him and Effie where he was like they kiss each other and stuff. I was like, yo, he's really willing to do comedy as well. Like I don't know, I just love that dude.
Yeah. No, people don't realize how he did like Kaiju Big Battle, like he does all this like
Yeah,
really out there stuff. They think he's just like a very serious like technical wrestler, and like no, he wants to do wild stuff. I think he
yeah,
just he he has to keep up this energy as like a badass.
his persona. Yeah, yeah,
I think
I agree.
the last thing I really want to note on that I was really proud of because they've been like a professional goal of mine forever was I set it aside too. Boom.
The
Making the
PWI
PWI
500.
500, number 485. Like I was so hyped because and the person that told me it was the first thing I saw when I woke up when the numbers came out. Alex Watt from High Tension, he was the one that told me, and it was super cool. I was like, man, this is because I wasn't sure when it was coming out, so it hit me completely by surprise. And like, people are gonna say whatever about it. I don't care. It's something I'd wanted forever. I wanted that recognition, especially being someone out of Syracuse, which is an area that, in my opinion, has had very good wrestlers, but has not always had very good uh, promoting, networking, uh, platform, however you want to phrase that. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't been as good at getting ourselves like out there and known on a national level, and that's international. So
Yeah.
I was really stoked to see that.
Listen, is there moments where the PWI is who you know and where you work? Sure, but once again, you're a guy who's not out here. You're not a look at me guy. You're a lunch and pail guy. You're gonna come in. You're gonna do your job. You're gonna eat your lunch. You're gonna go home. Like you're not get like you're gonna like if you can go if you're gonna go above and beyond when it comes. You're gonna give 110%, but you're not gonna brother your way into anything. You kind of just stay to yourself. You're friendly, and then you leave. So the fact that you
Yeah,
made it, there was no politicking going on at all. You earned every ounce of that rating, and I'm proud of you for getting it.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and if anyone says anything different, they're psychotic. Yeah. Did you hit all of your goals that you put out for yourself in that year, and what new goals do you have for yourself going into 2025?
No, I didn't hit all my goals. I had a few, and one of my main goals was I wanted to appear on television. I don't care if I was an extra. I had a match on WWE, AEW, MLW, etc., TNA, or if I was in the background as the janitor, like mopping the floors or something. I don't care. I wanted to appear on television. And
Luca
I won't
Mancini's
tell the
been
story.
killing it wherever he
Oh,
whoever Luca knows, him and Sal Mastrada are just killing it on TV appearances.
Luca, I'm gonna go on a tangent on Luca. Luca has, I think, a really good look for that sort of thing. He looks like if you put him in any sort of like professional setting, he just fits. Like
Yeah.
he looks like he could be in like the Wolf of Wall Street, or he looks like he could be like security.
Like an Italian
Yeah,
background in an
yeah.
Italian mob movie.
He fits all those scenarios, and he's a person too I want to give props to real quick, just because you brought his name up. Like, he's worked really hard, and
Yeah.
I think he's the guy that doesn't get. He's getting more shine now, and I'm just, I'm really happy to see what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's a good
love that
guy. He
kind
had to
of
deal
guy.
with an injury this year as well. It took him out right around. He couldn't be on his own show on WrestleMania weekend because he was injured,
Yeah.
and to see him thrive off of that, I'm really happy for Duke.
And he, even though he was injured, he still showed up to every single show that he
Yes.
would have been booked on, and did whatever he could to still stay. Like, some people get hurt and just they go away and they come back when they're ready. He's like, no, wheel me out in a wheelchair, get me crutches. I did commentary with him the entire time he was injured for a while too. Like, he worked. He just kept working.
Yeah. And
But
Sal,
goals,
I love
yeah.
Sal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sal's
I'll get back on gold, I promise.
Yeah.
Sal, I love. I talked to him a little bit just because like I saw him like shows around PA for sure, but like I saw some of the stuff he's doing out of Worldwide Dojo, which shout out to Worldwide Dojo. I was just there for Skyda seminar, which was awesome.
Who?
But Skyda, Luchador, Horns, Lucha
Okay.
Camp.
Yeah.
This is the second time me and Don Freeze went. Awesome. But Sturdy Sal, like I'm really trying to get him booked like in some of the places I am in upstate New York, because I think he'd do really well. Like, he reminds me, and I hope he recognizes this as like as a compliment. He reminds me of like Ivan Putski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Old
I like
Santa.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
He's great.
like every man, like stocky dude will throw some dudes around. Like, I really dig Sal, so I hope to see more of him.
He can go in so many variants. Like, he could be the college party frat boy character. He can be the all-American muscle. He could be the foreign heel. Like, there's a lot of looks he can fit into. Like, he's Italian, but like, also being Italian, you can play any other, like, you can fit into a lot of different groupings. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Pacino played a Cuban. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, the most famous like on-screen Cuban ever in Pacino.
Yeah, it wasn't even Cuban. And Carlito's Way, wasn't he a Mexican in that? And he's Italian, full-blown Italian.
So yeah, he's Mexican.
He can fit those roles. Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. Another guy you said a couple times here in 2024. Don Freeze shows up at High Tension Boiling Point, sits in the crowd, doesn't say a word to anybody, participates every single match, and like, all right, very last match of the day. Hey, everyone. I remember this. Hey, it's the last match. Please just try to give your energy to this last match. These guys been waiting all day. Just, if you can, just give them a little. And Don Freeze like, oh, they're not going to have to worry about that. I'm going to make sure they lose their goddamn minds today. And this son of a bitch goes out there and blows the roof off the place.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Dude, like you said, though, him and his opponent were in such a tough spot because we'd been there for hours, and there were
at least 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, I believe there was something to the effect, like somewhere between like 24 and 25 matches ish that day.
Yeah,
an insane amount. And whoever, if for some reason someone that was in the audience that day sees this, shout out to you, because you guys kept the energy all day and you were awesome. But Don Freeze went out, and that made me so happy, because Cheeseburger is in the corner, like jumping up and down, like excited seeing Don Freeze do his thing. If you're watching this and you haven't seen Don Freeze, look him up. He's like a modern day, like, I don't know if you want to say Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't know if you want to say.
Yeah, he's Bam Bam. He's a big dude who does not look like he moves, and when he starts moving, you're like, he just did a moonsault.
Yes, he does flips, he does moonsaults, spiral tap. Like, he's incredibly talented. One thing that people don't realize about him, he's ambitious too. He works super hard. Like a lot of people see the flips and that's like how they connect with him, and I totally get that. But his connection with the crowd is different, and
Mm-hmm.
he has like huge goals, and he is uncompromising on wanting to take wrestling as far as he can. And I love that. I need that energy around me, because sometimes like in certain spaces, like it's harder when you're the only dude trying to go up a level.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to do it alone. And if I have like a couple other people with me that are trying to get there, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and there's no
I'm super
disgusting
happy.
competition of trying to one like healthy competition is beautiful and like, hey, I'm gonna outdo you tonight. But when it becomes ugly, that's when it becomes a problem, and especially in
Yeah,
the wrestling content creator space, it's ugly. It's ugly.
yeah,
It's like, let's motivate each
yeah.
other, because look at Rogan and all his friends. You think they did it by themselves? No, they teamed up and they
Well,
got there. You know what I mean? Like,
you're
it's
100% right.
yeah, but people don't want to listen. I'm crazy, but I'm usually
Yeah,
not wrong. I hate to give myself one of those, but yeah. So 2025 goals. What do you have set out for?
yeah. I want to wrestle some new states. Like, uh, I've been a Northeast guy the whole time. I really would love to brand. There's so many good wrestling scenes in the country now. Like the South is going crazy right now, between like the whole South too, between Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. The Carolinas are super hot right now.
Ohio is
I would
doing
love
really well too.
Ohio's killing. Ohio's always kind of not always, but like indie wise, has always been kind of a hotbed for wrestling, because it's built off of like it's kind of in the middle of a couple different scenes. But I think in terms of the indies, like the South being the way it is now is kind of a newer thing. And the West Coast is killing too. Like Washington down through California is killing.
I could probably get
I'm
you booked in Kansas.
I'm down.
I know a guy who has a promotion out there. He's running shows and he's looking for people all the time. I'll put your name out there if you want, if you're willing to fly.
Yeah, I can fly.
Yeah,
I got a good I got to hook up on plane tickets. I'll put it that way.
yeah.
I just want to wrestle new places. Like I love the place I wrestle in the Northeast, and if you see me either talk about, or if you see me wrestle at the same places like over and over again, uh, it's because I want to be there. Like they've been
Mm-hmm.
really cool. But otherwise, like I am not going to reach my goals wrestling the same people and being in the same spot my whole career. That's just the
Yeah.
reality of it. And I
I'll tell you
want
this.
to.
I'm very looking forward to experiencing more with Three Legacies Wrestling. Like I'm very proud
Yeah,
of what they've been doing. I've had Ricardo on this podcast, but the fact that you and Hawthorne are becoming more frequent flyer miles there and you're there more, and I'm bummed I didn't see a lot of Hawthorne's title run, but the
yeah,
fact that like this, some of the names are bringing in, I'm excited to go. It's just I'm not there as a content creator. I'm not there as a commentator. I'm just excited to go as a fan and support you guys. I think that's a great fit for you too. So I can't wait to see more of you in Lancaster.
yeah, dude. I'm hoping so too. I'm really putting a lot of work to be there as often as I can, because the first time I went, I was super impressed with just the professionalism and like the production quality, and just the connection that whole roster has with the fans is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I I love what they're doing. I really want to be there as often as I can.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool people I'd like to see you square up. Like, I mean, you and Hawthorne, I'd watch if that was a
Yeah,
match every weekend. You and Bro
yeah,
Keller, because Bro Keller's there a lot too. I miss the hell out of
yeah,
him. Like, there's a lot of cool people that I think that you fit really well into that roster, that
yeah,
you could disrupt some stuff and be a major player there. Um, Also, if you got plane tickets, man, get over there. And I think you'd fit in really well in London too. That UK wrestling scene is unbelievable. I was there for
yeah,
All In, and I went to the couple indie shows there. Oh, so much fucking fun.
yeah. No, that's a goal of mine too. I want to wrestle off the continent as well. I gotta figure out who I need to talk to, basically, because like wrestling wise, I feel confident that I could go in there and do my thing. But sometimes it's just putting yourself and getting yourself on that card that's the tough part.
Yeah. The Brothers Gray just put
They
they
did,
were
yeah. They just went to
yeah, they
Japan.
just Japan, and then they have some other international tours coming up, and it's just like,
Yeah,
not like, hey, I want to take your spot, but like, let me pick your ear. How did you make this happen? Who do I have to talk to? You need another member to go with you? You know what I mean? Like, just I don't think a lot of people are willing to put themselves out there like that to do it. And like you said, you're in this 10 years. You're not messing around anymore. You're changing it up. You're connecting with the fans. You're doing everything you got to do. I think the sky's the limit.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Hobbies or interests? Anything new you're into? Any new movies, games? Any new hobbies that you picked up throughout since we had you on the podcast?
Yeah, you mentioned a gaming stream earlier. I want to learn how to do that, and even if it's just like me and my buddies like playing whatever, I want to learn how to do that. I'm really into I'm really committed to seeing live music. Like the last year, I went to the most concerts I've ever been to in my entire life. I'm really trying to
Anyone
capitalize
stand
on
out?
that. Dude, I saw Knocked Loose and Drain at the Riverworks in Buffalo. Incredible. Okay. I was so hyped to see them.
It was fun watching you vibe to the heavy metal bands at Solar Slam.
Yes, I followed up with Shiverboard was the last band that played. They were awesome. I followed up with them afterwards. Like they killed. Yeah. I had a blast. Who else?
I like the Sweepers. What a great gimmick.
The Sweepers were very cool too. I saw Avenged Sevenfold and Poppy also in Buffalo, which was awesome. Yeah.
Don't tell us Dan Styles. That's like Dan Styles' dream girl.
Poppy,
he's obsessed with her.
Poppy goes hard live. Like,
yeah,
she's very like metal right now, and I love it. It's incredible. I saw Spirit Box at the Center for the Performing Arts in Philadelphia, like because I'm very much on this wave of like, if someone really wants to go with me to a show, I will definitely go. But I really like going to shows by myself and just kind of floating and just doing my own thing. And you don't have to be like, hey, I got to meet so-and-so here, or hey, I got to make sure I stick with these people. Like I can just kind of snake my way through the crowd, do whatever. It was tough. Spirit Box was awesome, but that was like the day after I separated my shoulder. So I'm sitting in the back with my arm like this, like I'm having a good time, but I can't go like crashing into anybody or I'll be screwed.
I seen for the first time ever. I didn't know anything about this band. I didn't know they had a whole lore and backstory to them, a comic book, the whole nine. And Alex couldn't make a show, and he's like, "I have a ticket. Do you want to go?" I think I was supposed to go with him, and he had extra tickets, and then he couldn't show up, so it was just me and Lily. We went and seen Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I had a blast. They were so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like any of the other bands that opened, unfortunately, because I don't like the screaming pterodactyl metal where it's like.
I love the screaming pterodactyl.
I can't do it. I'm very lyrically driven, so I have to hear some lyrics. And if everything's just like, like I'm just like, I have no idea what they do. Do you like that song? It was a good lyric. All right.
It's one of those things where there are a lot of people that are like you that are like, it's the message that I can hear that I really connect to, and then the way I approach music is, it's a feeling. Like, I don't know what they're saying a lot of the times, but like it hits me in a certain way. I'm like, all right, I'm with that. So
Lily's singing along to bands. I'm like, how did you get the lyrics to that? You looked it up online because he's not speaking English, right? They're like, you just learn. I was like, maybe.
Yeah. I guarantee we listen to a lot of the same bands too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think she was talking about a lot of the stuff you went to see, and she's like, I love a lot of those bands too. Yeah. Anything else besides music? What else have you been into?
Yeah, I've been. It's funny. Like it sounds obvious, but it's not. Like we travel so much for wrestling but we don't really get to see anything. We see a lot of gas stations, basically. We see a lot of gas stations and fast
tons
food
of gas stations.
Yeah, but I'm taking more time when I go certain places to like actually explore. Like, obviously it was WrestleMania week, so I was there the whole week. But like Philadelphia was one where I had a couple bookings, but the rest of the time I was just like walking around Philadelphia. Like I went to the art museum with Andy Brown, which was awesome. I went to that market that has all the different
the food
like restaurants. Yeah, I went there like 7 times. Like that was my go-to stop. Of course, I went to Suplex Wrestling like on my own time, not just for the show. They're dope. Just like I'm committed to. You might know about it, or Lily might know about it. There's a vampire museum in Northeast PA somewhere
Yes.
I need to go to that.
Let's plan that. Let's do that together as a group. I mean, you
I'm
like to go
down.
solo, but
No, I'm down.
I've been showing
so
Lily
down.
that for a minute. Lily,
Yeah.
maybe she knows the name. We'll have a quick run in here. Lily,
Yeah.
come here quick. You don't have to get on camera if you don't want to, but I just have to ask you a question. She's in the girls are over tonight. What's the vampire museum I've been telling you about in Pennsylvania? You don't remember? You know what I'm talking about, though, right? I know what you're talking about. Well, we just planned a triple date. Me, you, and SKYROS are going to see the Vampire Museum. There's supposedly a room that like.
Can we go to All Gothic Garden too? Because it's supposed to be like it's a tea garden that's attached to it.
The Gothic tea garden that's next to it. We're in. Yeah, we're in.
All black, all deadly plants.
Well, we're going to be starting in 2025 that Truth Behind Illusion show where we talk about like metaphysical and spooky shit. So if you ever want a guest spot on that too, you're more than welcome to come hang out with us.
Oh, I'm down. I will say beforehand, all that stuff terrifies me.
Oh, I don't believe any of it, but I want it to be real so bad.
I have a healthy respect for ghosts, spirits, specters, wraiths, anything you want to put on that list. I have a healthy respect. I'm just like, I'm not messing with you.
Oh, I'll walk right in. I don't care. I don't.
You're a braver man than me.
Yeah, I genuinely don't believe in it, but I want it to be real. So I want cryptids and aliens. I want all that. So like, if I can like. If giants can rise up in like Godzilla style, I would eat that up. It'd be great. You know what I mean? Just, as humans, we need something to take us down a peg. You know what I mean? Like, we have too much greed in corporations, and I don't want to go on a soapbox, but a good giant monster would just really balance out the world a little bit and realize that we're not the top of the food. Like a good monster, ghost, something. We need something to level the playing field out.
I hear you.
I'll tell you what, though, and this is just especially just. I like that you're opening up more to fans, and this podcast, I love. This is why I love doing the podcast, because not a lot of people get to experience their favorite wrestlers and stuff. And I always try to tell people like I want this to blow up more, and it's not just for me, it's because I get to see my friends, and I get to see how you guys, how I get to perceive you. A lot of people don't, because you're so close. You're closed and recluse, and you stay to yourself. And like another thing, like the fact that you're making a Discord and you're putting yourself out there more, you should vlog more. Even if it's just small little videos for your YouTube channel, you should record when you're out doing things, or just like my pre-match thing. Like, because you're willing to put yourself out there more, you're someone I think people would really connect to if you did stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll talk about that because I've thought about that. My thing, and I'll probably end up doing it anyways. I need to think of a way to like kind of separate it in terms of, you know, like everybody else's, but like last year, I think like every indie wrestler got a vlog, which is cool. Like,
I love them. I love them all. I try to watch them. Yeah.
But it's the same way. I'm like, man, I don't want to be another indie wrestling vlog unless like I can put my own spin on it. It's the same reason I don't do a podcast, other than like the joke one I did like years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have those skills from like doing radio and like being a journalism major and all that, and I want to put them somewhere, but I don't just want to be like everybody else, as cliche as it sounds.
I look at it this way too, is even like the podcast and side of things, and just like the vlogging I was doing a little bit, but I want to get I always think I'm just like, I hate making it about myself. Like even when I go to shows, like people didn't know I had a podcast for the first 4 or 5 years I was in wrestling. I just didn't put it in people's face. I showed up, I did my job at a show, and I went home. I didn't like, hey, can I have you on my show? Because I felt like a dude. I still to this day get anxiety asking people to do this podcast. It crushes me every time. But like, for me, I like to go back and like, it's like a video journal. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you would have vlogged or just did video journal type stuff, in 2000, just last year alone, just like your matches with Suzuki and stuff, and just like going back to be able to look at that and be like, oh my God, that was cool. Like that's like, I just look at it from that aspect. So many wrestlers keep their book and keep their, how many matches and how it went and how this and how that, add that video element to it, where it's like, you can go back and watch like where your mind state was, and you can go back and be like, yo, here's what I did to prep for that. Here's my diet here. Oh, I changed my diet up that much. It's just a good way to go back and kind of not like mark for yourself, but just you have it. It's a journal. Yeah. That's how I look at vlogging. I look at it more like a journal than I do vlogging. If people want to watch it, that's awesome, but I'm going to make it regardless.
So here's something I'm going to put on the Discord as well. There's some really good backstage photos of me and Suzuki that I didn't know were being taken at the time, that one of my buddies took and sent to me like way afterwards. So
I have a photo like that with you at Solar Slam. We were just chatting, and someone took a photo of us.
That was
and
good. Yes.
I was like, "That's a good photo. I like that."
Yeah, I caught them though, because they like incognito, like they were hitting like one of those.
Yeah, I think it might have been Lily. Was it Lily?
It was Lily.
Oh yeah, I don't know who took it.
I was like,
yeah. Man. Any new learning experiences or advices you would pass along at this stage in your career to somebody else? And it doesn't have to be so much wrestling. It could be anything that they're chasing their dream at. You've been at the grind at this 10 years strong. You know, in just this year alone, you've probably hit more milestones than you ever have. You know what I mean? Like, what would you say to somebody or advice you would give?
Yeah. I'll go with what I would have told myself like at the beginning, and just put yourself out there as much as you can. Like, just don't be apologetic about promoting yourself, because at the end of the day, the person's going to take care of you the most.
I needed that more than anybody. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. The person's going to put you, like, take care of you the best is yourself. That's just the reality of the situation. You got to put yourself out there. You got to do. It sucks because, like, cutting promos and like putting stuff up on Facebook and making graphics and all this stuff that you do, especially like someone like you that does a podcast and all this different media, you do a lot of little extra stuff that people don't realize. And we as wrestlers do a lot of little extra stuff people won't realize. And sometimes it doesn't pay off. Sometimes it's thankless, but you should do it anyways, because all it takes is for a certain thing to pay off for the right person once, and you're made. And that's just the reality of it. So just put yourself out there, be unapologetic about it. And for all wrestlers, like, merch is king. Like, for a very, very, very select few people, it is cool to be like mysterious and not show up until you're in the ring and then to just disappear. Like, there are a tiny, like, maybe dozen people in the indies that can get away with that. Everyone else, like, I don't care who you are. I thought I was one of those people. I'm not. Go out and meet people, because that's how connection is how you make them care more about what you're doing, how they buy more shirts so you can pay your bills, so how they tell other people about you, so you either get booked or you get new fans, and it just builds one by one. And you meet a lot of really cool people. I've been fortunate to, like, there are people that I've met as wrestling fans that I consider friends that are genuinely like cool people. So
yeah,
put yourself out there.
Yeah. So I know this is going on everyone's social media for this year, and it's a question I'm going to ask you to throw it in there just before we get out of here. Who's the hit list? Who do you want to work in 2025? Again, or for the first time?
Yeah. I just sent a very similar list to somebody, so I'm going to try and do it from memory. It's tough because he's, because of what he does with New Japan and his status in New Japan, but like Zack Sabre Jr., Jeff Jarrett. Now that Nigel McGuinness is back, I don't care if it's like a seminar, like before, like I want to do something in the ring with him. Like, he's one of my favorites ever.
Yeah.
Manders from GCW, I wrestled in like a 4-minute match on Wrestling Open maybe 2 years ago, and I really would like to get another shot at him in front of people. Like, I think that would be super dope. There's one more I'm blanking. Let me wrestle Ryan Clancy 100 more times too. I wrote about this on my blog. If you go on my Discord, we talked about it, you'll see it. But Ryan Clancy is someone I would like to wrestle 100 times, because there are certain approaches that we share on wrestling that, like, I've finally been able to, like, meet him in the space in terms of, like, being in the ring, that every time we'll be in the ring from now on, like, we're cooking. Like, it clicked the last time we wrestled in a way that doesn't quite click the same with everybody else. So I'd really like to get in there with Clancy, like, as often as possible.
Yeah, my two for you are just you and Hawthorne, you and Bro Keller at 3LW. I'd like, actually, you know who would be a cool one to say? I think he goes to 3 Legacies a lot too. You versus Tarzan Duran would be a really fucking fun match.
I wrestled him my first time at 3 Legacies earlier this year, back in, I want to say it was April or May. Yeah,
I have to
in
go
a
back and
single-
I didn't know that. I didn't know that match happened because you guys play off the ropes and look, you're both
Yeah.
try to hit your finishers off that spot. Like that'd be a cool matchup.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch that.
Yes, please. I really enjoyed that match too.
And make a trip down to Pilgrim every now and then. Maybe rub some L's with Deppin. You and Deppin would be a fun match. Maybe
I'd love to
AXW
wrestle
can
Deppin.
make that.
I've known
And Speedball be showing up and doing some shows there too. Maybe you get a Speedball match.
Dude, Deppin specifically, I would love to wrestle Speedball, by the way. He's killing it.
Deppin's a good guy to test yourself for Zack Sabre Jr. because they wrestled.
I've known Deppin since probably, like, we're not like super close, but we've known each other since probably like 2008 or 9. Like,
yeah,
I've known him forever. I had a really good conversation with him leading up to the Suzuki match, and I had a really good conversation with him at a show in Syracuse about a match I had. And yeah, I'd love to wrestle him. Like, he's intense. Like, when you talk to him, like, he's very like, that's the best way I could put it. He's very intense when you talk to him. Like, he's very,
people think he's a dick, but he's very like,
he just cares a lot.
Yeah, he does. He cares a lot. Yeah. He tries to put it off as he doesn't, but he fucking gives a shit. Like he's passionate. He loves the business.
Yes, and like a lot of times he cares way more than he wants to, but he just, if he sees something, he can't go without saying, which I think is a good quality.
I struggle with that, especially if it's something I don't think should be happening. I'm gonna probably say something. Yeah. It bites me in the ass a lot. That's not good for wrestling. But all right, last one here, and that's how we end them all. What are you grateful for, and are you currently happy?
Man, I'm grateful for the people in my corner. I'm really grateful for like the ability to like physically still participate in wrestling and to like things to still be heading in an upward direction. And years in, like, I'm super fortunate. And man, happiness is, I'm not happy all the time. Like, I could lie and say yes, and it would probably feel better for the camera, but I'm not miserable, but it's something I'm working on. It's something like I'm trying different ways to find, but there's a lot of really good people around me, and that helps immensely.
Yeah. Well, I'm super grateful for you. I know we talked about it before the camera start rolling. You just find a way to send me a message when I need it. And I'm not gonna lie, man. You sent it the other day and I was like emotional. I was like, because like there's times where I have my own mental hangups where I feel like I'm not wanted or needed, or if I were to just stop doing this, would anyone give a shit? And then I get like a random unsolicited message from you like, hey man, I was thinking about you. I was hoping you'd be at the show today. I miss you. Hope we get to catch up soon. And I'm just like, this guy. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you, man. You're always been someone who welcomed me even when I felt like I was like, oh shit, no one gives a shit that I'm here. You know what I mean? Like I'm always someone who has to not just pay the dues, but like, how can I make myself as valuable as everybody else? And when you're not a wrestler and you're in this field where the show is in between the ropes and you try to do everything else outside and in between to make everything else good, you become like an unsung hero. But not a lot of people who step in between the ropes care about those unsung heroes who do the stuff outside. You've always been someone who has been very, very nice and very welcoming to me. And I'm glad we've had this friendship for as long as we have. And I love you to death, man.
Come on.
Yeah.
The feeling's mutual, my man.
Yeah. So where can people find and support you and help put some money in your gas tank?
Yes. So prowrestlingtees.com/MikeSkyros. I have shirts up there if you don't catch me at a show, which I will have merch on me at shows, I promise. I have Instagram's at Mike Skyros, Facebook is at Mike Skyros, Twitter is at Mike Skyros, TikTok is at Mike Skyros. Discord will be live by the time you see this. I will have on all those profiles listed, I will have a link tree because I just made a link tree. And the Discord link will be on there. Link tree rules, by the way.
I use it all the time.
Click on that link. And if you want to connect with me, because I'm going to move my energy in terms of like talking one-on-one with people that like fans and stuff, like people I don't normally talk to the Discord. So if you want to connect with me, if you want to see extra stuff I'm doing, behind the scenes stuff, match footage, watch alongs, I'll probably have some special guests just to do like an impromptu like podcast on there. Find me there.
Yeah. And you're always welcome to come hang out in our Discord too, if that's becoming a thing for you. Come and connect with our people, and they're great people. Like, listen, there's people from Australia, Mississippi, Kansas. I have more people who support me from all over the world that aren't really local. My Discord's mostly non-local people I've never met my entire life, or the ones I met that like because we met them in London. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
and they support who support me. So you should definitely come hang out with us, and we'll definitely send them your way on the Discord too. Yeah. All right, man, that'll do it. The ABJ podcast. Make sure you check out all the links below. Grab that merchandise. If you do take any merchandise, either for myself or Mike Skyros, and you listen to it on this podcast, tag it. Be like, hey, I went out and bought a t-shirt, or I'm rooting for this guy. Screenshot this episode. Let people know you watched it. And like I said, word of mouth is how we're going to grow here. And yeah, let's just get it done. Lots of new content coming. We do have the next episode already in the back for you guys, so you can go watch this right now. But I just got a new another interview with a brand new guy on the scene. He's about a year into the game. Remember when they said about you about a year into the game? It's a long time ago. But this guy here, I'm filibustering while I'm loading because the graphics not there. But the next episode will be from Catchpoint Wrestling, Rulo. I'm sorry, Rulo. I did it again. I fucked up his name before. Kid coming out of Catchpoint Wrestling. He's working his ass off. He looks like Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy. He's a handsome boy. But yeah, that's another question for you. You're 10 plus years in. Do you still go to, like you said, you went to cheeseburger school? Do you still try to actively go to other places like a Catchpoint or like a Creator Pro, or just to kind of show up and see what you can pick brain, who you can meet, who you can network with?
Yeah, I was talking to Travis Huckabee about, I was talking to Travis Huckabee. I was talking to Ultimo.
That'd be a good match too. You and Travis would be a sick match.
We had it at Pro Wrestling Grind. It's available, so it's on IWTV. So go on IWTV and find Pro Wrestling Grind. There is a me versus Travis Huckabee singles match on there, and I think we did 2 tag matches as well as teammates. But yeah, I talked to Travis. I talked to Ultimo and about wanting to go in and take a class. I love Cheeseburger School. I'll put over Cheeseburger real quick. Like, he's been super accommodating and offering, like, I want to learn, like, I want to always, like, sharpen my current skills. But anytime I get to, like, Lucha Camp with Skyda, I'm not a luchador. I'm not good at it. It's not my forte at all. But, like, it was super fun to, like, go in and try to learn. And, like, I got to roll with, like, one of the camps I got to roll with Lee Moriarty. One of the camps I got to roll with Marcus Mathers. 2 really talented guys. But yeah, I do go seek out different schools and like training when I have time, because it's busy, man, and everyone runs class in the same days. And Syracuse is far from everything, but
yeah,
yes, I try to get in there as much as I can.
I just wanted to put that out there for people who are the veterans. You're never too young, you're never too old to go and network, especially if you're serious about your craft. That's gonna do it. Season 3 the first episode of season 3 of 2025. Huge thank you to everyone for hanging out. Huge thank you, Mike, for hanging out. I love you to death. We'll see you guys on the next one. You can check us out every Tuesday for Tornado Tag, but the next interview next Monday. Come see it. It will be up there, and make sure you show that support. We'll see you on the next one. We're out of here.